One of the hardest guns to grind for in Helldivers 2 is the PLAS-1 Scorcher. Located on the 10th page of the Helldivers Mobilize War Bond, it will require 1,275 medals to unlock. But when you finally do unlock this, you realize quite quickly why this gun is so hard to get. Dr. Pooplove here, and this is my guide to the PLAS-1 Scorcher. Let's get right into it. So this is what this gun looks like, and its main stats are: it deals 100 damage, it has 15 bullet capacity per mag with 6 total mags, it's got 20 recoil, which when you fire it, you do notice slight upward sway back and forth, but it really isn't too bad, and it has a 250 fire rate, where it fires pretty fast for a semi-automatic gun such as this, but you're more likely better off taking your time and making sure your shots are well placed with this gun. It is light armor penetrating. However, due to this other weapon trait of explosive, you will find that it actually does pretty well against armored enemies, but I will get there. Now, this is considered an energy-based gun, and it does fire these plasma projectiles that look pretty cool. The description of this gun reads: a plasma rifle firing a bolt of superheated gas which explodes on impact. Avoid standing in proximity to the blast. We will get to that. Now, there are no modifiers to this gun other than the basic flashlight, and this is what it looks like in the first person view. Now, one little fun fact is when you're reloading this gun, it has this cool little ammo container with the Helldivers logo on it. But how does it perform on the battlefield? Well, it's pretty awesome. The main benefit of this gun is the little explosions that occur upon impact to the target, making it almost like a mini grenade launcher, although you can't use this to close nests. This gun truly shines when up against armored targets, because even if you hit the enemy's shield or armor, the explosive aspect will still damage that enemy. That means you can take out the AT-AT walkers without running around them. It means you can take out the shielded automatons by hitting their shield, and perhaps the best use of this weapon is you can use it to take out these types of tanks by hitting it at the top, because the explosion damage ends up triggering and exploding its weak spots pretty quickly. You can also use this to kind of creep around the edge of armor and get to that weak spot via the blast radius. Against the bile spewer, the Scorcher is also one of the few guns where you can aim for the bulging sacks to good effect rather than the head, although the head also works. And it makes it so this gun is pretty good impacting those spewers anywhere you hit it. It also works pretty well against griefers who were trying to take my teammates' supplies. A great thing about this gun is you can use it at range, and perhaps this makes it one of the best guns for sniping, especially since it deals damage to nearly everything. It's definitely nice to have this in that primary slot. Now, it doesn't seem to have very good impact against the Hulks or the Chargers, so be aware of that. The Bile Titan, it can take out the poisonous sacs, but it's not really damaging the face, so you can weaken it for sure, but not deliver that final blow. Now, there is one major downside to this gun, and that is that you don't want to use this thing at close range. That's because the explosions themselves will also take you out. This makes it especially hard to use in bug missions with those hunters closing in on you. But for those, I typically have a rover on to deal with the close enemies, or I switch to a pistol. Another thing to note is if you do have the personal shield, it will protect you from some of the close range explosions, but it's not foolproof, and if you're too close, you're still gonna get ruined. This gun though is probably one of the best things you can have on you for the automaton missions, as enemies there are a little bit longer range, and with all the armor that you can still get damage against, it makes it so I only really have to use my railgun against the Hulks. And because I can deal damage against so much, I had plenty of railgun ammo. I will say though that I do feel like this gun can run out of ammo pretty quickly, despite the 15 clip size. So I recommend not overdoing it against those armor targets. Even though it can damage them, it still can take a good number of shots, and so you're better off going for the weak spots if you can. The other thing to note here with the Scorcher is splash damage. This will do some splash damage damage due to the explosive. However, against enemies, it's not super noticeable. Even against the bugs, they do seem to spread out just enough that it doesn't seem to have this effect that often, but it does happen. So it's a nice little touch to have. Now, another pro strat here that I've seen with this gun is when you're trying to escape the heat of battle and you've run out of stamina, but you're at full health, you can fire this gun at the ground somewhat close to you and purposefully damage yourself, allowing you to then use a stim, which will restore your stamina and allow you to run at that faster speed. Just be careful though, it's pretty situational to actually use this, but it is something you can do. All in all, I think this is my new go-to primary weapon. This thing is definitely worth grinding for, and I hope the devs put more guns in the game that have some of these more interesting, unique perks to them. But let me know what Scorcher tips you have, and I want to say a special thank you to my YouTube members for joining the Bowel Movement. But otherwise, so long, Pooper Troopers.